106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Welcome back to the Music Saturday Part 2. I do apologize for the tardiness. I had something happen a little bit out of my control, but I do apologize. So we're back with Forgotten Bee, and our second special guest tonight is Michael Bronstetter. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
So first off, Michael, you've been in the business for quite some time. Now, how did you initially kind of break into it? Meaning, when did you start playing and saying, you know what, I really want to make some music and start recording, that sort of thing?
12 years old.
Oh wow, that early, eh?
Yeah. Basically, I lived in LA. I grew up around the States. Started out in Michigan, in Detroit, and that was, right around the time Motown Records was just starting to kick off. And I had heroes like Little Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye and Al Green on Atco Records and so on and so forth. So they were, the R&B, soul, and doo-wop were kind of, when I was a kid, even younger than 12, obviously. And, that was what I grew up on. Even when I was in Pittsburgh, we were listening to that stuff. So, I had a pretty good upbringing in terms of the doo-wop from the PA area, Philly, and
right.
Then later on in Detroit, the R&B and Motown and soul, and then I matriculated down to Louisville, and then because of the nature of the media back then, there wasn't a whole lot. So you had the Grand Ole Opry and Merle Haggard and Jerry Reed. I loved him, and then when I was in the military later on, I was in New Orleans, and so, that kind of whole process just ended up being an augmentation to my time in LA before moving to San Diego.
Right on. Well, with your mention of Motown, it's interesting to mention that actually because it was, I want to say about 15 years ago now or so. I saw Stevie Wonder live in Detroit when they had their anniversary for the city.
Oh, wonderful.
And I tell you, man, there was nothing like that concert. I was blown away because I've always been a big fan of Stevie Wonder, and just his older stuff and that sort of thing. And when I saw him live, I was like, man, this is something special. So that's one concert I will always remember without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, my first concert actually was when I went to see the Stones, and this was, I was still probably junior high school area. And this was an earlier tour, and they had a lot of other bands with them. And the lineup it opened with B.B. King. Second up was Ike Tina Turner Review.
Oh, wow.
And third up was Stevie Wonder, and then the Stones. So
man, what a lineup.
Well, like I said, it was pretty freaking amazing. So. Well,
yeah, but go ahead.
And the worst part about it, I went to see the Stones, not knowing, other than just what I knew already about the other acts.
Right.
And didn't realize, because I'd never seen them on stage like that before live, how much better. And Stevie Wonder and I Tina Turner just blew me the hell away. I mean, that was unbelievable.
So
changed my life probably.
So was this like the Sticky Fingers tour, or was it before that?
Oh, way before that.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
This is probably 69, 70, 71, somewhere in there. I'm forgetting. I mean, I like to tell you what tour it was, but
Right.
it was pretty cool because it was the old Stones, before they started selling out arenas and
Right.
Leaving, without an encore, and being in their limos on the way to the airport where everybody was screaming for them, type of thing. With the Truman Capote type of thing. So
Right. But you know what? I'm not surprised with a lineup, especially early stages, because their early stage of the Stones was a lot about R&B, especially for Mick Jagger. So that kind of makes sense. And man, yeah, you got lucky with that lineup. Like wow, like that's very impressive.
yeah, I agree.
Especially thinking
I'll
now that.
argue with you on that one.
Oh yeah. So with your songwriting process, and John, we'll get to your song in a few minutes here. But what is it? How do you go about it? Do you is it lyrics first, music first, or does it kind of vary back and forth, or like how do you kind of sit down and say, you know what, I'm gonna write the song and I got an idea in my head? So
I'm not a lyrics person.
oh really? Hey.
I'm not a lyrics person in terms of that's what inspires me to write. It's always about the music, and usually the process that I've had, because, I mean, for the most part, most musicians have to make attempt to make some kind of a living. So we end up spending a lot of time doing cover songs, and then we have all these original songs that we try and work in. And, and sometimes you're lucky and you get some mates that really stick behind you, but I've been working with professionals off and on for many, many years. And so every time you want to do originals, it's like, well, pay me, doggone it.
Yeah.
And so it ends up you're kind of doing a lot of solo stuff. And so when I started doing the process, it always started, I think, with the beat first, in terms of the melody usually, was something that was in my head, constantly goes on. And then it was say, hey, I like this. There's something about this. And then you kind of find out what that groove is. And then, because the guitar is a percussive instrument or a piano is a percussive instrument, so you find out what that rhythm is, and then you end up changing it as you go along as to how it develops with your mates or the other studio musicians, or but it really starts out as a melody to me, and the words are usually the last thing I write, because that way you can fit them in better. And then what my whole process usually starts with is me doing a blah 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 track, which is I kind of have the melody, I kind of have the tune, I have the changes, but I don't have the lyrics, so I just kind of just let it blob out of my face. And I usually find a gem in there. I says, oh, that's what this song's about. So I kind of let my inner, whatever you want to call them, kind of come out, and then usually I find a little morsel in there, that I'm able to write the song from.
Right
and
on.
the 5 songs that you hear on Iron Mountain are all kind of written in that vein.
Very cool. It's like I usually like to. That's one question I really like to ask, just because everybody's got their different format to it. So it's always a huge interest to me to see how it kind of plays out and comes down, because I'm always going to hear something different, and it's always cool because I'm always curious about the creative process, because everybody's got their own way of doing things, right? So it's always curiosity to me and cool to see how these things actually come together and kind of play out.
Yeah, I enjoy it, and it's the hard part is it really doesn't work well with other people around. It's something I have to kind of do on my own to kind of clear the cobwebs out of my head. So when I do co-writes, it's harder, because there's people there, and so you have to find your own little niche, go about your business, then come back with your little gem, hopefully, and people
Right.
won't laugh and snicker at you.
B, do you have a few questions?
Hi, Michael. It's
Yes.
lovely to speak to you.
Thank you.
I was just going to ask, going back to the covers, I understand you started, from 16 performing in covers bands, and it always fascinates me because to actually do a good cover, of a song that maybe I love or something, you really need to get it right. So you need to get the chords right, the guitar solo, the beat. the whole structure of the song, which is not an easy process. And I just wondered, has
No, I agree with you 100%.
Oh, I was going to say, you must have been really disciplined to do that, and I just wondered if that's now coming across in the music you do.
Been for almost 16 years. Was I would join a band, kind of be there, be a better singer than most of the guys that were already starting the band. And then within a month or two of us getting together, doing it, maybe even doing a gig or two, it would be like the bass player would leave, and all of a sudden, there was nobody to play bass. And I was like, "Does anybody here play bass?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." 16 years of being a bass player. Well, the problem for me is I can't sing and play bass at the same time. It's a different mind process, a different, timbre. So I kind of had to put that aside until I finally said, that's it. I'm just focusing on playing guitar and guitar only. And I wasn't going to be the bass player call up for anymore.
Right.
Well, sorry, the Skype kept cutting out a little bit, so I didn't hear. Well, no, it was just the connection. I couldn't hear everything. But I was going to say to you, what covers did you do?
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, it depended upon the era. I mean, like any cover band, you're going to play what's popular, and since I went through a lot of different bands. Mostly as a result of just them being, not very stable. And you had to do something to fit into your schedule. They had to learn what was relevant for that time and what people were able to do and what they liked. So we would do everything from, the California folk rock type, Crosby, Stills and Nash things.
Right.
Jackson Brown to R&B and soul. We would do stuff from Steely Dan.
Nice.
And then, just everything, everything you could think of. It's whatever the bar wanted you to do. You go look at their jukebox and start learning.
Oh, you know what? I never even thought about that. Because, don't get me wrong, I know what a jukebox is. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't. A lot of the younger listeners don't know what a jukebox is, maybe. But I never thought about that as far as doing covers for a bar. But one thing I've always this is just my opinion, but my opinion as far as covers go is either you do it justice or you fail. There's no in between.
Oh, we always tried to make it personal. So in other words, it may be a cover and it's, people kind of were able to relate to who it originally came from, but it was ours. And if you don't make it your own, you're a fool, because then, people don't, they can put it on the DJ, which happened later on in music. And then what the hell do they need to pay a whole band for? They just have a guy come in for, $300 for the night, and he gets paid really well, where you pay $300 to a band, and they're walking out there saying, well, where's the gas money?
Yeah, no kidding.
Just when you're talking about money, I was always under the impression that covers bands actually earn better money than musicians, because they are actually hired for weddings, that type of thing, or birthday parties, whereas musicians, obviously, it's a different thing, isn't it, because it's unique original music.
Absolutely true.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit bizarre, isn't it, that is the case, but that is true, isn't it?
Yeah, I talked to a fellow on the way back from San Francisco just the other day. And he was getting ready to do a band, with his band getting ready to do a gig on the Bahia, which is a boat that goes out and you play for 3 hours. And they have a big book of 400 songs they can play and so on and so forth. And that's what they do, and they don't mind doing weddings and, formal events type of thing. So they have a booker that does it for them. And that does pay well. But when you're kind of in a situation like I was at 16 and when I was a young man, you're finding whatever venue you can get into that will allow you to play, and it was $300 back then was a good money. Where
absolutely.
It'll be closer to like $1,000 now, and so you get what I'm saying. So it wasn't bad. And then you